Hey, welcome back. Today on my bench I got a treat. It's a what is this thing anyways? It's a Johnson CB radio, AM transceiver model 242-0123. So yeah, it's a relic alright. Look at this thing. Oh, it's set to channel 19 already. Breaker. Okay. So this is a Messenger 123A. Made by Johnson Communications, I imagine. Funny story with this. My neighbor was having a garage sale, and I went out walking over and take a look to see what he had, and I spotted this sitting off to the side on a bench or on a stool, and I said, "How much you want for that radio?" And he says, "Oh, it's yours." I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, I don't even know if it works, so you can take it." So I gave him some money. Oh, I bought some other things there, and I gave him money, and I was going to offer him $5, but he didn't even want that. But yeah, this thing's definitely cool. It's from the amount of schmeg and mung on it. I'm going to go full bio here. I've got my gloves on. I don't want to touch this thing. Just look at this nastiness inside the cord. If I open this up, it's just all caked with dirt. You can't even see the rubber anymore. It's just covered and coated in dirt and dust. And it's, ugh, look at that. Nasty. I wouldn't put that up by my mouth. Well, let's have a look at it from the inside. I think there's 4 screws. Slotted screws. Okay, what's going on here in the back? We got our RF input. I imagine that is a external speaker. External speaker, 8 ohms. Yes, it's even marked here. 50 ohm antenna. That's right. And your power input, 13.8 at 1.2 amps. Made in the USA. Right on. Speaker on the bottom. Okay, let's open this up, have a look. Okay. I'm going to power this thing up. I fully expect it to be working. I don't think there would be anything wrong with it, other than the capacitors. You got some interesting transistors here. Some CAN transistors. This one's heat sinked. I guess that's your RF output. Wow, look at the crystals for all the channels. Every channel's got a crystal. Are these changeable? Or no, they're soldered in. Well, it's a 23 channel receiver. Yeah, 23 channels, and then it had that mystery blackout channel there. People used to open it up. Channel 9 for your emergencies. Channel 14 to squawk to kids. And Trucker 19. We're missing a couple of the aluminum insets here for the knobs. It's not a big deal, I think. But look at this. Wow. Incandescent bulb. And a Pioneer speaker. 8 ohms, 1 watt. Oops. So let's power this thing up and see what it does. I'm kind of curious. Really curious. It's got some I think those are RCA transistors. This thing was made in the States, so it should be popular. Yeah, RCA, Motorola, RCA. I bet you these are all Motorola's. Yep. Not too many Japanese parts in here. Okay, let's power it up. Okay, so I got a power supply here. It's 13.8 volts, like it recommends on the back. Antenna. This is the antenna the guy gave me to go with it. And I'm looking at this thing. I don't know what this is for. This is definitely not a CB antenna, but he thought it was. So I have a whip antenna here. It's a VHF one, but I'm not too concerned about SWR matching or anything. I'm just going to connect it up, and we're going to see if this thing works. I fully expect it will. Oh, 6 electrolytic capacitors. I tested these with an ESR meter, and they all are fine. So just to let you know, I did test them, but didn't get anything out of it. So let's connect up a ground, and let's connect up. It's turned off. Connect up power. And turn this thing on. Squelch is working. Getting about 8 or 9 pounds of background noise. Probably because of my LED lighting. I should shut that off. But then you won't be able to see. Let's shut the lighting off. And that dropped to about 7. So I was getting interference. Citizen band channels are pretty quiet nowadays. There's nobody really uses it anymore. So let's turn the... What I'm going to do is I'll start up my frequency generator. If I remember correctly, channel 14 is 27.125 megahertz. Let's try this out. Alright, so I connected a loop antenna to my signal generator, and I'm going to start feeding it with some RF. Let's turn this on. Channel 14. Let's get some modulation going here. 30% modulated with a tone of 1000 hertz. Let's turn up the amplitude. So I was peaking out at 27.125 megahertz, and if I rock around that frequency, it comes in and out. That's 27.12, 27.125, 27.13. So it is working. Turn that off. Okay, so what I want to do is test the transmission function. Let's turn this on. I'm still on channel 14, and up in the corner you should be able to see my frequency counter. And And I'm still hooked up through the same loop antenna for the frequency counter. This is going into the frequency counter, and I still have the whip on the antenna. So let's key this and see what it does. What's going on here? I'm still on channel 13, right? Channel 14. So I got 27.123 megahertz. A little bit off. Don't know if that's my counter or if that is the transmitter itself. But this is consuming 430 milliamps at 13.8 volts. And now we're consuming 200 milliamps. So it's an increase of about 210 milliamps. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. The strength meter here shows it at about 3 watts, I think, is that what's showing on the bottom. It's probably because I don't have a proper matched antenna. I'm getting a lot of noise out of the amplifier. I don't know if that's my lighting. So it works, and I think probably benefit from a tune-up and alignment. No, I'm not going to do that today because I really don't have any interest in using this thing. I just was curious if it ran. If it runs, it does. It's kind of a testament to the Messenger build quality. These things are built like tanks. American made, crystal controlled. Everything's looking good. I'm going to take a look at it though closer. And so here's some advertising from 1975. I don't know exactly when this radio was produced or marketed, but there are service bulletins dating back to 1969 for this model. And I have a suspicion this one is an older than 75. I think this one is probably early 70s, maybe 1970, 71. But you know, here's the radio advertising. They're advertising it as a must-have accessory if you're off-roading, which is a good idea, I guess. You know, it totes all the features. 100% installed state chassis, speech compression, noise suppression, skeep, skirt selectivity, whatever that means. And you know, it's full warranty, 700 authorized service centers. You know, it's pretty basic. It's got a suggested retail price of $159.95, and they sold tons of these, literally tons of them. Because if you go look on eBay, you'll see lots of them today, and they all are going relatively cheap. So there's nothing really old or special about this. The schematic is pretty straightforward. Not much to say. 1, 2, 3. This schematic has the LED meters instead of the meter movement. This is a newer upgraded model, but it's still basically the same guts. It's got a ceramic microphone, push to talk switch, 3-stage audio amplifier, and it's got transformers between the driver and the outputs, and a transformer between the outputs and the speaker. So yes, there is one transformer here. And I think this might be the output transformer, I'm not sure. Power amplifier stage. This one here is a transistor. It's NPN. Doesn't say what kind it is, but if I read the package, it's a Motorola. And then the pre-driver. And then, you know, it's got these monolithic or hybrid ceramic filters, I think they are. There's circuits here. Here's one right here. And there's a capacitor, resistor, capacitor. So these are like filter networks. Let's see any more. There's another one here. I don't know why they do that. I guess it saves them space. Quite a few of these all over the place. One here, one here. Yeah. Here's your channel selectors switches, and these are all crystals for each channel. Each channel has a crystal. 23 channels, but there's only 12 crystals, so they must be doing some trickery. To get the frequencies they need. Yeah, I only counted how many crystals are in here. 14 crystals. And here's a chart of the frequencies they're operating on for different channels. This is supposed to be printed on 11 by 17 and not by 8.5 by 11. But you can see all the crystal channels. What is this? The high frequency crystal it uses. I guess they're reusing the same crystal. And the active low frequency crystal. No, that's receive low frequency crystal. It's hard to read. And then you get your transmit frequency and your receive frequency. Not much else to say about it. Pretty typical design for that era. I don't know, there's no shielding here whatsoever for any of the circuits. The transmitter doesn't have any shielding. You know, you'd think that they would do a little better than that, especially when you got this spaghetti mess of wiring and you're going to be picking up all kinds of stray oscillations and frequencies and crosstalk. But it seems to work. They got it working, so hats off to them. I'd say it's off a little bit. I'd probably say that's a center frequency right there. It's hard to tell. Like we could play around with this all day to find that, hook up meters and find the exact center point, but I think we're pretty close there. But for now, I think that's it. That's all I got. So, thanks for watching, and breaker.